on what is transpiring in India, the atrocities, the brutalities that are taking place there. And as such, India continues facing outrage from Muslims after the official nationalist party made derogatory references to Islam, particularly Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the insults that are meted out of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now these outrages, these protests, these condemnations that are taking place around the world are not new at all. So today's lecture, inshallah, we are going to be giving you some of the examples of these atrocities, condemnations, and brutalities that have taken place, not only in India, but around the world. We know that for many years now, Indian Muslims have often been targeted from everything. Muslims have been attacked in India regarding the kind of food that they eat, the kind of schools that Muslims attend. You remember our young girls, they were even prevented from wearing hijab. And remember also, very recently, there has been an outcry and a banning of massages. Remember particularly one of the massages that was accused of being built in a 17th century temple. Now some Hindus demanded that this masjid must be broken down because it was built on a temple. Remember also very recently, our young Muslim chaps have been marrying Hindu girls and converting them to Islam. And once the Modi government hears of such thing, they go and attack these young Muslims who have married interreligiously, accusing them of converting these young people into Islam. So now these are some of the examples that have been taking place whereby Muslims have been attacked in Modi-administered India. And also the rights groups such as Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have recorded some of the well-known violences that have been meted out on Muslims. Now, just to give you an example, you remember there was an operation called Operation Polo in India, where thousands of Muslims were killed in Hyderabad. And also remember the Muslim riots or anti-Muslim riots in Kolkata, in places like Barisal riots, the Eastern Pakistan riots, the Gujarat riots, the Bhiwandi riots. There's a lot of riots whereby, according to Amnesty International, 50,000 Muslims have been killed in India. Now, fast forward. Today, we hear a sudden chorus. Many Muslim countries have voiced their outrage at what is happening in India, beginning with countries like Qatar, Kuwait, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and all the countries in the OIC. They have expressed their outrage. Now, just to draw your attention, don't be fooled by these outrages. These outrages have become a regular feature. Whenever these insults that are meted out on Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or on Islam, what do these countries do? They call their ambassadors and say, hey, you ambassador, come here. Offer an apology on behalf of your country. So these ambassadors, they do that. They offer a lukewarm apology. And then everything goes back to normal. Everybody goes back to slumberland. A typical example is what has happened in India now. After these two chaps, that is Sharma and Jindal, after they insulted Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these countries that I've mentioned, they called the ambassadors. They say, ambassador, we are very outraged at what your administration has done. And then the Modi administration, what it does, it doesn't even offer an apology. It says we strongly denounce insults on any religious personality. Now these words are very, very insulting in their own. they are not apologizing for what they have said on Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Islam. They say, we only denounce the words that are meted out on religious personalities. Now what do the Muslims do? They feel happy and they say, you know what, at least they have apologized. And very disappointingly, even individual Muslims, when we were coordinating this boycott against India, individual Muslims, you know what they say? They say, don't worry about Modi. Leave Modi and these people alone because they have already sent an apology. But the question is, how long has countries such as India, France, Israel been insulting Islam? Again, let us remember that these insults have been going on and on, but the oppression does not stop. The murdering of our Muslims do not stop. The maiming and jailing of our Muslims around the world do not stop. We just uprise for 1, 2, 3 days, then after that we go back to sleep. Again, let us remind ourselves that such insult remarks will always be part and parcel of a global agenda which has been taking place since the beginning of the 20th century. We should bear in mind that these derogatory comments, if they go unanswered, if me and you do not take decisive actions, then we'll go back in, day out, of being insulted and do nothing about it. And Islam will be destroyed day by day, bit by bit. Now remember here, we are not advocating any kind of violence. We are not saying take up arms and go and fight and do something violent. We are not saying that. We are not advocating any kind of violence or war, but we need to stop such fanatics from insulting Islam and provoking the feelings of the Muslims. Now, look at the hypocrisy of our so-called Muslim countries who are making noise on India right now. Why don't the same Muslim-dominated governments make the same noise against apartheid Israel for the illegal occupation of the Palestinian lands? All these so-called Muslim countries, they are buddy-buddy with apartheid Israel. They make deals with apartheid Israel. They even go to the extent of normalizing the relationship. They don't even call their ambassadors to book. When Palestinian men, women and children are murdered every day, when they are killed and jailed every day, 9-year-olds are put in jail in occupied Israel, and not even one of these countries make a noise. Not even one of our leaders make a noise. And they are permanently driven. Some of these Palestinians are permanently driven out of their lands and turned into permanent refugees. These countries don't make a noise. Our so-called leaders don't make a noise. But when it comes to India, they are so quick to make a noise and denounce their ambassadors. Look at Masjid al-Aqsa, the third holiest Islamic site, is under siege. Why don't our so-called leaders make the same noise? There is no difference between the Hindutva oppressive ideologies and these Zionist gangsters. Now to conclude, I've got only 1 minute. To conclude, the question is, one of the brothers actually asked me on social media, sent a message. He says, okay, fine, you're making such noise. What do we do? What do you want us to do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us different expertise. Remember, each and every one of us here has got a talent. Some of us are writers, some of us are speakers, business people, scholars, medical personnel, artists, etc. These can be utilized, these talents that Allah has given us can be utilized to voice out our outrage and disgust at India's arrogance. One of the most effective ways is to boycott products from India. Most of us here will love the rice from India, spices from India. We are so proud. Maybe we are attached to them because of cultural background and all that. But remember the 50,000 people that have died as a result of supporting these kinds of products. So inshallah, all individual customers may play a pivotal role, an important role, and make sure that we stop buying anything that comes from India. For a long time, for many years, we have been living without these products. These products have just surfaced recently, and we go crazy about them. And disappointingly, when we approach different business people, you know what some of the Muslim businesses say? They say, but Sheikh, my main line is product from India. What am I going to eat? I cannot just denounce product from India like that, because most of my products come from there. So what am I going to eat? How am I going to support my family? But remember that Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sacrificed. He was placed under embargo. He was placed under sanction. He was starved to almost death. And some of the Muslims died for us to enjoy what we are enjoying today as Islam. How many of the Muslims sacrificed their lives, lost their businesses, not the thousands that we are proud of here. Muslims have lost millions of rands to sacrifice because they said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. For that, they lost millions, and we are not prepared to sacrifice just one container. One gentleman said, I've got a container that just arrived from India. You want me to lose 100,000 rands worth of that container? And we say, brother, 50,000 lives have been lost. You are worried about 100,000 rands. So inshallah, to conclude, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, believers are like one body. If one part of the body feels the pain, the whole body suffers. So if the people in India and Palestine and Al-Aqsa are suffering, we should feel the pain as well and boycott the products coming from those lands, inshallah. At least we'll have done something to simmer down the arrogance of these administrations, inshallah. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagul mubin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.